Good morning, dear hearts. We are on lesson 186. Please subscribe. Salvation of the world depends on me. And I, always say when I'm teaching this in a class, no pressure. But we're in a section of truly important lessons. These are lessons, and we were told this in the beginning with the introduction to this section, that our lessons now are geared specifically to widening horizons and direct approaches to the special blocks that keep your vision narrow and too limited to let you see the value of our goal. This is a huge value, the salvation of the world. And the lesson starts by saying that, if we think we can't do it and that it seems arrogant, that is the ego. That is the thought of the ego. This lesson says that we get to have the acceptance of the part that has been assigned to us, because God is the one who did the assigning. God knows the abilities of his children. He knows that we are up to this task. It says but acknowledges the will of God is done on earth as well as heaven. It unites all wills on earth in heaven's plan to save the world, restoring it to heaven's peace. I'm going to say something now that many people are going to find probably controversial, because I see postings all the time of other course teachers and good teachers, and I don't want to try to take anything away from them, but their viewpoint is that there is no earth. But there is. If there was no earth, I don't know why it would be mentioned over 100 times in the course. The thing about the existence of earth is what earth is heaven, but it has doubt flooded all over it. It is surrounded in doubt. That's what earth is. If when we remove all of these doubts, all of these cloaks, these veils, these walls, these blocks to what we see earth as being, then what is revealed indeed is heaven. It wills, it unites all wills on earth in heaven's plan, restoring it to heaven's peace. I want the peace of God. That is all I want. And I receive and will have the peace of God through the salvation of the world. Why does it depend on me? It needs only one. There is that one child of God, that one son. You are it. I am it. We are that one son of God, seen in very many different visages. But we are one, and we are the ones who are here for the salvation of the world, to shift it and remove all the blocks so that heaven's grace can be seen here and now. This lesson talks about the idea of that we would think it's arrogant that we're the ones chosen for this. But again, we have been chosen by God for this task, for this function. And the one who has chosen us knows that we are indeed very capable of it. And we are deserving of having the experience of earth being transformed into heaven. The lesson goes on, and it's an amazing lesson. We really, realize what we're being told, for these special blocks to widen our view, and in this sense of widen the view of who we think we are, to remove the arrogance of the ego. And arrogance is always of the ego, and the ego will always tell us that, you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not smart enough, you're not holy enough. We're never going to be enough to the ego mind and to that ego voice. But this lesson says that for us to accept the plan that we did not make, accept the plan you did not make instead of the plan that the ego has made, and judge not your value to it. God knows our value to this plan. Arrogance makes an image of yourself that is not real. The arrogance of the ego, and this is in paragraph 6, and it's really amazing. It says, in this image which quails and retreats in terror as the voice of God assures you that you have the strength and the wisdom and the holiness to go beyond all images. You are not weak, as is the image of yourself. And that is the image that the ego has projected onto us, and we have accepted it. Remember the lesson that we've twice denied our brother by projecting this image onto him, separating him, giving him a name, and then he has accepted it also. So that's the twice denial of the oneness that we are to have with our brother. You are not weak, as is the image of yourself. You are not ignorant and helpless. Sin cannot tarnish the truth in you, and misery can come not near the holy home of God, which abides within us, because we are within God as he is in us. It says, and so we find our peace. The voice of God is telling us how to do this, and will guide us and will always be there with us. This image, the image that we have of ourselves, from the ego point of view, is one that is constantly shifting and changing. The ego is filled with mood swings, we'll just call them that, and that we can be very it says 1,000 shifts in mood, and our emotions raise high indeed or dash us to the ground in hopelessness. This is how the ego performs us. We can see ourselves as a marionette with the ego pulling the strings and raises us up high, only to have us fall to the ground in utter distress and despair. But as the Son of God, all of these images, everything from the ego, is not sustainable. Remember, an untrained mind is not sustainable. Okay, I get very excited with this sometimes. The images that we make give rise to conflicting goals, impermanent and vague, uncertain and ambiguous. This is everything that comes from the ego mind, and who could be constant in his efforts or direct his energies and concentrated drive towards goals like these. The functions which the world esteems are so uncertain they can change 10 times an hour at their most secure. That's not where we want to be. In that we will not have and find the peace of God, which yesterday's lesson, I want the peace of God. It cannot be found in the mercurialness of the ego mind. So we are instead asked to follow the voice for God that knows that we are capable of this function, and do as God's voice directs. And if it asks a thing of you which seems impossible, remember who it is that asks and who would make denial. The ego would deny, but the voice for God knows that it can be accomplished. Then consider this: which is more likely to be right? The voice that speaks for the Creator of all things, who knows all things exactly as they are, or a distorted image of yourself, confused, bewildered, inconsistent, and unsure of everything? And let not its voice direct you. And instead, we are asked to hear this certain voice. We have these companions around us. The lesson concludes, first it says, for love must give, and what is given in his name takes on the form most useful in a world of form. And that would be every miracle, because it's what will help to guide us from one step to the next when we still have doubt. And the lesson completes with, salvation of the world depends on you who can forgive. Such is the function here. Here in this world of form, forgiveness is required. It is necessary. So until we move past this world of form, forgiveness will be our tool to use for the salvation of the world. And that is where we will find and have only the peace of God. I hope this helped. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, pray. And someone asked me today, to mention from time to time my book. It's called Good Morning, Dear Hearts. It's about personal experiences of seeing the miracle and the blessing in everything, in odd moments, in odd places, but it's always there. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Namaste.